maybe he is a Muslim. Who knows? He comes out and makes comments like there's great respect for Sharia. Sharia would subjugate every single one of us, Charles. Like, to be honest, he's not my king.
Tommy Robinson has gone hard against King Charles as the crisis in the British monarchy grows and the hard left, the Islamist left, start to use the situation with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein to encourage an abolishment altogether of the great British royal family, like Jeremy Corbyn's Islamist partner in crime, Zara Sultana, who wrote, don't just abolish Prince Andrew's titles, abolish the monarchy. So is this a time when those of us on the right should actually be getting behind the monarchy, trying to save the monarchy? Or, as Tommy Robinson points out, are there question marks about King Charles's faith as the head of the Church of England, given he has seemed to capitulate to Islam, and this week even decided to go and pray with the Pope for the first time in 500 years. This is what Tommy had to say.
Mate, maybe he is a Muslim. Who knows? He comes out and makes comments like there's great respect for Sharia. Sharia would subjugate every single one of us, Charles. Like, to be honest, he's not my king. Yeah, and I think most people feel that way. And he's not just on Islam, on the whole World Economic Forum, the whole global climate change, just everything he's been part of and supported. Everything. And he's meant to be non-political. Yeah? The Queen was non-political, didn't make any of these comments. Charles, total opposite. So, and I think it should have skipped Charles and gone straight to Prince William and Kate, because the support for the monarchy is probably at the lowest ever, I'm guessing. People have had enough. And he is meant to be our king, and his people, which is us, our daughters are being raped from one end of this country to the other, and they're continually being put in danger. And he said nothing. He speaks up for the great contributions Muslims have done. Like, if there was no Islam in the UK, we wouldn't even be having these discussions on immigration, because immigration hasn't caused the problem. It's Islamic immigration that's destroying this nation.
To my superstar panel, Jasmine Birtles of Money Magpie Finance, and Tommy Robinson, ally and Urban Scoop contributor, Gurumit Singh. So Gurumit, Tommy's gone pretty far there, saying King Charles is not my king, and even suggesting that maybe he is secretly Muslim, or at least sympathetic to Muslim, which is something that has concerned a lot of folk, given his seeming desire to talk much more about that faith over Christianity, especially in regards to major events on the religious calendar. At the same time, though, do you understand where I think there's a real risk if we on the right start going down this path? Because, of course, the left want to destabilize the monarchy because they want a republic for a whole load of reasons that would open up, I believe, the door to very bad things coming to the United Kingdom.
I mean, I do agree with Tommy to a certain extent, and I do agree with yourself. When Queen Elizabeth II had passed, I believe it left the monarchy and the country quite vulnerable. Recently, I visited Windsor Castle, so I could pay my respects to the late Queen Mother, Queen Elizabeth II. With Charles going down this angle, I mean, I've heard in the past that he's tried to learn Arabic to understand the Quran more. I've heard he's taken money from quite influential sheikhs in the country, in the world, especially in the Arabia area. I don't believe he should be prancing around other religious institutes hoping to promote them and their people. We have a problem when it comes to Christianity in this country, how the churches are being shut down and in some cases being turned into mosques. People are leaving Christianity. His concentration should be with the C of E church, is what he's responsible for. That's his goal, that's his job, and that's what he should be doing. I do believe in Tommy in what he said with, basically, I don't believe that Charles is my king. I don't see him as a king. When I grew up in the 80s and the 90s and the young youth, the Queen Elizabeth II, her name and her picture was always around in the household. Even though we didn't know her personally, it felt it was a part of us and part of our being and our culture and our heritage and our history in this country. I don't look at Charles in that way. And I do agree with Tommy where he says that he thinks that Charles should have been skipped over and it should have gone straight to William, because I do believe William is a monarch I can get behind. But with Charles's antics, getting involved politically, especially with an ideology that is completely alien to us and completely against us as a whole, I can't really support him as being my monarch, no.
Yeah, I mean, I do completely understand that position, Jasmine, and I say that it's difficult. I'm a monarchist, I'm a royalist, which means really you do try and support the head of state and the monarch as much as you can. In saying that, one of the issues with Charles, he is head of the Church of England, yet he seems to care more about Ramadan than Easter.
Yes, he does. And you remember when he was crowned, he said that he would be defender of the faiths, not the faith. And he is supposed to be head of the Church of England, but for years, we've certainly had the sense that he wasn't even slightly interested in Christianity. I don't think he is Muslim. I think he's just a sort of a pan-faithist, if you like, a religionist, and even a paganist, because I think with the invitations to his coronation, he had the green man on it. So he's into pagan stuff as well. He's into all sorts. I'm also concerned that he's so connected with the World Economic Forum.
Yes.
That is not a group that you would want your king, your monarch, to be connected to. Sadly, I think William is as well. So that doesn't bode well for the future. But I agree again with Gurmit and with Tommy that it's hard to look at him and think, oh, that's my king. I've never felt that, and I certainly don't feel that his wife is my queen.
Yes, the Camilla issue is a really interesting one because, of course, the mainstream media has embraced her, but actually there is vast swaths of the British population, especially monarchists, who will not forgive what happened in the early days of her marriage, of Charles's marriage to Diana. There was something else concerning with the king this week, and it was largely overshadowed because, of course, the Prince Andrew story has gone so wide. But Charles made a visit to the synagogue in Manchester, which was subjected to that horrific Islamist terror attack by the absolute scumbag Jihad al-Shami, who moved to this country and was radicalized over many, many years. And actually, on the day, even though the police didn't admit this, called up the local cops and said, you know, I'm doing this for ISIS. So there's absolutely no doubt that he was an Islam terrorist. But of course, for a lot of the reasons you have both outlined, Charles doesn't want to go there. And so what the elite class do in these situations, and it infuriates me because the same thing happened, do you remember, after David Ames was the MP, the Tory MP, was murdered in a terror attack by an Islamist. For some reason, all of the conversation moved to social media and sort of the tone of our conversations on social media rather than actually the threat of Islamism. And King Charles this week did exactly the same thing, warning against radicalization on social media as he met the Heaton Park survivors. Let me just take you through some of the article. The Daily Telegraph reported the King spoke of the need to de-radicalize people from what they see on the ghastliness of social media while visiting survivors of the Manchester synagogue attack. The monarch told members of the congregation, I can't tell you how sad I am. The terrible thing is, so much of the thing of the ghastliness of social media, it's very hard, adding that we must de-radicalize people. Buckingham Palace spokesperson said of the visit, this is the king continuing with duty and service in his long-standing mission to bring communities together, particularly in times of challenge. And the king hopes very much that the focus will be on the community impacted by this heinous crime rather than any other matters. And he is obviously referring to the Prince Andrew story there. But Gurmit's saying, I'm sorry, this utterly infuriates me. There is absolutely zero evidence that Jihad al-Shami was radicalized by the, quote, ghastliness of social media. He was radicalized by his Islam faith to the point where we took him in 2005 and he ends up wanting to kill us on our streets by 2025.
It's a similar scenario to what you spoke about earlier about the Pakistani boy that killed the young boy up in Sheffield, I think it
Yes,
was.
horrible.
What they're trying
Harvey
to do
Wildergoose.
is the crime is being committed, and they're trying to take the attention off the real problem, which is actually the individual that's committed the crime, which in this case is a Muslim again, and his faith, Islam. I mean, even his name is Jihad. He's committed this act because of his faith and not because of radicalization on social media or something someone has told him to do. That's evident. And this is just another way the Islamic community are trying to shun the responsibility of what has happened in their name and in their faith's name.
Yeah, having a name of jihad is a bit of a giveaway, really, isn't it? But I think we're going to see this trope more and more that, oh, social media, it needs to be controlled. We've been hearing this particularly with children, or children need to be protected. Well, they do, but that's being used as an excuse to stop people using social media, having the freedom of expression to use social media. And I think what those the powers that be, and I'm talking particularly the World Economic Forum, the UN, various organizations behind governments are trying to do is to make us have to have a license to use the internet, have a license to use social media. This is very much the point of digital ID, that we all have to have a digital ID. And if you don't have one, you're not allowed to use social media, you're not allowed to bank, you're not allowed to use the internet. That, I think, is what they're aiming for. And people like the king are being used to be a mouthpiece for this idea of, oh, social media is such a worry. Oh, allowing people the freedom of expression is a terribly dangerous thing. We must clamp down on that. Let's bring in digital ID.
I know. I mean, Gurmit Singh, what we desperately, desperately need are our leaders, are our members of the elite class to actually say, no, this is nothing to do with social media, because young, radicalized Muslim men are actually not being taught on the whole on social media. They're being taught in mosques.
Well, 100%, but and this is what you'd expect. You'd expect your leaders, you'd expect the people that are running this country, you'd expect even the leaders of the faith groups within their own religious institutes to be to be protecting us and telling us the truth of what's happening. These people are listening and picking up on a doctrine that is taught within mosques and madrasas throughout the country. We've got examples that go back 1600 years of them committing terror acts against non-Muslims throughout not just this country, but whole of the world. And the thing is, nobody not even the mainstream media, will actually cut this weed off by the roots and go straight to the roots problem, go straight to the plants problem. And the problem is Islam and an extreme ideology and what's within it and what it's trying to achieve, which is total domination. And a way by doing that is terror, which we've seen examples of on the streets of UK over and over again.
Yeah, we have. We have. And unfortunately, we have been let down by all of our leaders on this issue, actually. And I guess, Jasmine, Charles can be quite naive because, of course, you want to bring people together. But how can you say that after a terror attack when you're not actually looking at the root cause of the problem? But in some way, Jasmine, this bleeds over to his management of his own family as well. And I do wonder what you think in terms of not just the Prince Andrew situation, but also the Prince Harry and the Sussex situation. Has he really done enough by just saying, okay, don't use your titles? Because increasingly, I am being told that Prince William is lobbying for there to be an Act of Parliament. This would be the letters patent, where all of the titles and formal royal privileges, including that of Prince, are stripped not just from Andrew, Beatrice and Eugenie, but also Harry, Meghan, Archie and Lily. Isn't it important for Charles to do more, Jasmine?
Yes, I think it is. I mean, I kind of feel for him because this is his family, particularly his
Yes.
son who's had problems, etc. And I think it's very hard for a parent. It's easier for a brother to say, cut him off, cut everything off. When it's your son, it's much harder. However, the behavior from that quarter has been so bad, has been so, again, not just against the family, but essentially against Britain. Because, when you're talking about the royal family, quite often British people feel that you're talking about the country as well. So I think there are a lot of people in the country who want him to cut and really do things properly, because they said, we want to move, we want to be our own people, we don't want to have anything to do with the royal family. In fact, so much so that we're going to say and write nasty things about them. Well, do it properly then. Take away all of those privileges, and then everybody knows where they stand. It's hard, and I know that as a parent, it would be very hard for him to do it. But as the king, as the head of state, he needs to do it. He needs to act strongly now.
Gurumit, do you think Prince Andrew and Prince Harry should simply end up Andrew Windsor and Harry Windsor?
Completely. With their actions over the last few years, I don't believe they deserve to have the title of even Windsor. All the royal titles should have been stripped from them from day one when these problems started to occur. The king is in a position to do this, and we need a strong leader. We need somebody that's going to stick up for the House of Windsor, for the monarchy. So he has to do some action here now, I personally believe.
Indeed, absolutely, indeed he does. Gurumit Singh, so great to have you on Outspoken on the Superstar panel for the first time. Where can people find you?
Gurumit Singh 01 on Twitter and YouTube, and Gurumit Singh on Facebook. And obviously, if you head over to Urban Scoop, you'll be able to find some of my documentary series, The Predator Hunter, there as well.
And Jasmine Birtles, of course, you've got to subscribe to the brilliant Money Magpie Finance on YouTube.
Absolutely. And then there's moneymagpie.com as well, which is my website. Yes. Have a look there.
Goodness me, because we all need some financial help at the moment, don't we, with this cost of living crisis?
It's been a pleasure
and taxes about to go up.
Thank you for having me.
Such a pleasure to have you for the first time. Gurumit Singh, Jasmine Birtles, thank you. And we are going to reveal today's greatest Britain Union jackass in just one moment. But first, so much feedback rolling in on the Mike Graham story. So Kalamazoo says Mike will now truly become the independent Republic of Mike Graham. Looking forward to that. Trish4977 says, won't watch talk anymore if Mike Graham has gone. Gray4566 says, Julia Hartley-Brewer and Mike Graham are great, except for one thing. They hate Tommy and spread lies about him in reference to Tommy Robinson. Nick S says, any presenter on Talk or GB News should build their own studio ready to go on YouTube independently in a garage or spare bedroom, because you never know when you'll be cancelled. Oh my God, that is so true. I wish I had done that. I was totally unprepared. Catweasel21 says, surely Meta can track down the IP address from which the offending posts were made and compare it with that from which he usually posts. I know this is not definitive, but it would be a good indication. And Not Baltic 280 says, Mike is Talk TV. So if he leaves, his new endeavor is going to be awesome. Every cloud has a silver lining. And of course, we will keep on this story for you. And by the way, we are streaming on Substack today. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. But Pamela Marie says, good morning from Middle Tennessee. I'm here to learn, I think. I love the UK, and I'm so concerned with the direction it's heading. Well, so are we, Pamela Marie, and it is great to have you watching. Okay, a reminder of today's Union Jackass nominees. Bushra Sheikh, nominated by Dr. Wilf444 for tweeting relentlessly about Palestine, but ignoring Sudan and Yemen, where Muslims are murdering other Muslims. Yasmin Alabai-Brown, nominated by MattCass44 for saying that the Oxford Union idiot who celebrated Charlie Kirk's death is a victim of cancel culture. And Rory Stewart, nominated by ScottFly23 for sulking like a little boy on Newsnight and only perking up to blame Trump for everything TDS of the highest order. And the results are in. With 19% of the vote, Rory Stewart. The runner-up with 39% of the vote, Yasmin Alabai-Brown. And your Union Jackass today, the worst Briton in the world, Bushra Sheikh, with 43% of the vote. And guess what? It's a Thursday, so straight after the main show, I'm going to put all the Union Jackasses from across the week head-to-head. This one is so interesting because on Monday, it was Sarah Ferguson. On Tuesday, it was Prince Andrew. On Wednesday, it was Jess Phillips. And on Thursday, it was Bushra Sheikh. So 4 very different nominees, all going head-to-head to be named the worst Briton in the world this week. I will announce the winner at the end of tomorrow's show. Do you know what? Last week, we had over 100,000 votes on YouTube, which is just absolutely incredible. So do keep them coming through. I will, well, they haven't started yet because I'll put up the post straight after the live show. We obviously had to wait to see who was going to win today. And today's greatest Britain is a honorary but it's a perfect nomination. Great man. Ezra Levant, nominated by Mother Clanger, who was pepper sprayed by police while reporting on an Irish protest. And we absolutely love Ezra Levant, the boss of Rebel News, one of my favourite guests, and he does such brilliant work. And it was terrible. He just said the police were indiscriminately pepper spraying people in Ireland, and he happened to be one of the victims of it because he was trying to do journalism.
Lady Sarah McCorquodale, 70 years old, the elder sister of the late Princess Diana. It was rushed to hospital after suffering a severe fall while horse riding. Speaking on the Rosebud podcast with Giles Brandreth, her younger brother, Earl Spencer, revealed that Lady Sarah had fallen about a month ago. He said, "Sarah, who is nearly 10 years older than me and has always been quite spirited, is still riding. She had a really bad fall recently and has been in hospital for quite a while. Apparently, she was a bit of a handful as a patient. The lead doctor even told my brother-in-law. She's kind of character, isn't she?" Following Diana's death, Lady Sarah has remained close to her nephews, Prince William and Prince Harry. On May 19th, 2018, at Windsor Castle, Prince Harry married Meghan Markle. Before the wedding, the palace issued a statement confirming Lady Sarah's attendance. The statement read, "Prince Harry is also keen to involve his mother's family in his wedding. All 3 siblings of Diana, Princess of Wales, will be in attendance, and Lady Jane Fellows will give the reading. Prince Harry and Ms. Markle both feel honoured that Lady Jane will be representing her family and helping to celebrate the memory of the late princess on the wedding day." In July 2021, Prince Harry reunited with Lady Sarah at the unveiling of Princess Diana's statue. He was seen kissing her on both cheeks, playfully pretending to give 2 more kisses as she wagged her finger at him. Lady Sarah has also stayed close to Prince William, accompanying him to charity events in Lincolnshire and attending his wedding to Kate Middleton in 2011. She received the title Lady in 1975 when her grandfather died and her father became the 8th Earl Spencer. Before Princess Diana met Prince Charles, he was reportedly briefly involved with Lady Sarah in 1977. When Charles and Diana announced their engagement in 1981, Lady Sarah famously said, "I introduced them, I'm Cupid." Their brief relationship reportedly ended after she shared private details with the press. When Diana died in 1997, Lady Sarah and her sister, Lady Jane Fellows, accompanied Prince Charles to Paris to bring her body home. Lady Sarah later recalled feeling nothing but shock in the days between her sister's death and funeral. Today, Lady Sarah lives with her husband, Neil McCorquodale. The couple married in Northamptonshire in 1980. 1 year before Diana and Charles's royal wedding,